The heyday of the Hussars. The origin of the word hussar is uncertain. Perhaps it came from the Latin cursa, meaning sweeping. Perhaps the word hus, meaning 20. However, the most probable candidate is the South Slavic huszár, or robber. The forerunners of the Hussars appeared in the Balkan area during the wars against the Ottomans, the same Ottomans who conquered Middle Hungary later. In these wars were born the ethically now Hungarian Hussars. The Hussars' life at the border castles was dangerous. They relied on ambush tactics to fight Turkish incursions and during their raids. In addition, they collected taxes for the Hungarian nobles on the Turkish-occupied lands and tried to prevent the enemy from collecting theirs. During campaigns, they were the advanced guard and served as scouts for the army. In response to the challenges of the new era, the soldiers' armament became gradually lighter. Though their fame rose, the Hussars, accustomed to raiding and duelling, was prone to violations, non-compliance and looting. For lack of loot, they even absconded. During Rákóczi's War of Independence, it became clear that daring raids and bravery alone are not enough to win a war. The insurgent forces, despite their numerical advantage, lost to the disciplined loyalist army. The Habsburg military leadership valued hussars highly. They tried to fit the maverick Hungarian cavalry into the imperial army. They sorted them into regular regiments. And made them vow loyalty to the emperor, discipline and moral life. They got payments and supplies regularly. The Hussar regiment was the property of and bore the name of its founder. For a long time it was also in the founder's right to regulate the uniform, appoint low-ranking officers and sit in judgment on the soldiers. Wars in the 18th century were clashes of ruling dynasties. The upkeep costs of their armies took up a significant part of their country's budget. They organised their logistics carefully and shipped supplies to their armies from the depots. Forts bulked largely. Their garrisons could cut the supply routes. Armies tried to capture them, but sieges often took years. Due to the increased firepower, battles became bloodier and unpredictable. Therefore, generals tried to win wars by manoeuvring to protect their expensive armies. It was the heyday of the Hussars. Their self-reliance and boldness could be well utilised. So the Hungarian cavalry fulfilled many roles. First of all, they served as scouts. They also provided advance and rear guards for the army. They secured camps and marching columns, thwarted desertions. It was also their job to secure the army's supplies and capture the enemies. Hussars led incursions deep into enemy territories and were also used to keep different higher army units in contact. And they were the ones who hunted down the fleeing opponents. These operations were called small war. Mihály Lajos Jenny elaborated its theory in his book The Partisan, published in many languages. Due to the Hussars' successes, almost all Western-style armies established Hussar regiments, based on the Hungarian model, with Hungarian-style uniforms, equipment and often Hungarian founders. The Hussars' role changed in just a few decades. Due to Napoleon's quick campaigns, always ending with decisive battles, the role of Little War decreased. hussars presented themselves in a new role in the thick of the battles. The hussars of the age, like Colonel Simonyi, were real stars. News were full of their daredevil adventures. The French general La Salle neatly said, "A hussar who is alive at the age of 30 is a cowardly man."